All right, let's do it. Okay. So if you've never been here before, my name is Hannah, and I'm your instructor. I have multiple sclerosis, and I've been diagnosed since 2017. So I've had it for coming on what 6 years now. Hard to believe it's 6 years already, but I have relapsing remitting MS, and I've been doing art my entire life, but I really felt like art and doing art for the sake of doing art, not to be an artist is really what helps me to focus and get back on track with my health. It's helped me in so many different ways. So that's why I'm here teaching you guys today. So let's get started. You're going to need your blank sheet of paper. I'm actually going to tear out a sheet of paper. If you don't have any drawing experience at all, that's absolutely okay. We're going to start this project from the basics, from the very beginning. We're going to erase a lot, so don't be worried if you feel like you happen to be erasing a lot. I guarantee you I'm going to erase a lot. I'm going to break down my little birdie here into easier to understand shapes. But before I do that, I actually want to show you a picture of birds. I have to bring it up, I have to find it. But I found a picture, just a general picture of birds, a bunch of different types of birds. And I wanted to point out some similarities between all of them and some differences between all of them. Let's see. I had it up on my computer, but then I ended up having to restart it because you guys wouldn't have been able to see me if I didn't restart it. So if you'll give me just a minute. I'm looking. Okay, found it. Okay, hopefully you can see it by now. All right, so I have a bunch of birdies here. So the one that I tried to draw actually just came out of my head. Like I usually end up, I don't know, going insane when I try to completely copy a bird. So this birdie is partially from my imagination, partially not. I did look at some reference photos whenever I created this little birdie. And if you'll notice, some of them are a little bit fatter, some of them a little skinnier, some of them have longer legs, some of them have longer beaks than others. I would say the dove right there in the middle, like that one's got a much rounder head. Sometimes the chest, if you take a look at the chest there, sometimes the chests are more rounded. Sometimes the chests are a little bit flatter. Sometimes they don't have a neck at all. And so it just goes from head all the way to body. As actually you can see that in the oak tillmouse right there in the middle, oak tillmouse. He really doesn't have a neck. He's really cute. Um, so that little guy, he even has like a little pointier part on the back of his head. He's got that little pointy part. What else do I see here? Some of them have like little beady eyes. Some of the eyes are more almond shaped than others. With all of them that you see, the markings are going to come later. So we're not going to think about markings yet. Although, well, you can think about markings, of course, but we're not going to add that until much, much later. So we want to actually put the head, the body, the feet, etc., put all that in there. So you're more than welcome to take a screenshot of this reference photo, or you can take a picture of it with your phone if you happen to be using your if you happen to have your phone nearby and you're using your computer, take a picture of it just in case you'd like it closer to you as reference. Do I have any questions so far? And if you feel like I'm talking a little too fast, please feel free to interrupt me because sometimes I just go on a tangent, as you guys have already witnessed. So the feathers, I want to point out the feathers. Our feathers are going to be very basic. I'm going to show you guys how to break down parts of the feathers and look at them as, I guess, separate feathers. Like they're created in sections, I would say. And I'll explain a little bit more of that in a little bit. But before I take this down, do I have any other questions? Okay. All right. Now, you are more than welcome to draw more than one bird. However, I will be focusing on one bird just for the sake of time. But again, you're more than welcome to do multiple birds later on or as we're doing the one bird. So I have my handy dandy paper. Let's see if I can move this guy around. My little birdie needs a name. I don't know. Okay, so let me go ahead and point out what we're looking at here. So we see a head, and when we do the head, I'm actually going to start off with an egg shape, and you're more than welcome to modify it into a round shape or even more of an egg shape than what I'm going to draw. And then we're going to actually take it a step further. Somewhere around the head, it can be under the head or on top of the head. Not sure, not entirely sure just yet. But we're going to be creating this teardrop shape. So it's breaking it down further. You see this point here? We're going to create a teardrop shape out of that. And then we'll further divide the wing into a smaller teardrop shape. We're not going to worry so much about these feather sections. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about the feather sections. There's 3 distinct sections here. Now that's just because of the type of bird that I chose to try to imitate. I think maybe it was a swallow. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite remember. But anyway, I will further break that down a little bit later. And then I'll show you how to do the beak, and then I'll show you how to do the legs and the eyes and all the little details afterwards. So basically, all that to say that we're starting off big and we'll fill in the little details much later. Any questions so far? All right, my star students. Forgot to spotlight my picture so you guys can see all of that. And again, you can work on multiple birdies if you'd like. I'm only going to work on the one. So we're going to start off with the head. So I'm going to start off with an egg shape. Maybe I'll just kind of draw one right here. You can draw yours anywhere you want. So I have this little egg shape. Now, I would recommend that you guys press down lightly. Because I want you guys to see it, I'm going to press down harder than this, but it'll make things a lot more easier as far as erasing goes if you press down lightly. And I would say much more lightly than this. So there's my little egg shape. Now, my little birdie, I feel like he should look this way, but you're more than welcome to have your little birdie look a different direction if you want. If we're going by this model here, this birdie is looking towards his back. So my birdie, he's going to face this way towards his back. So his back is going to be right over here. So I'll modify the head in a little bit.
So
For me,
are you going like in a different direction? 'Cause my brain is really
yeah,
going.
I am. I am going in a different direction. So would it be easier if I don't do that? Like I can do it exactly like this.
I don't know. It's just my MS brain doesn't. My
Yeah,
left
no,
side
that's
of my MS brain is just like, what?
it's mirror image. Yeah, I get it. So I'll go ahead and do it the same direction that the original picture is in. So there we go. Have my little egg shape, oval egg shape, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. I will modify the shape in a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump down to the body. So again, we're looking at the big picture here. And since I'm tracing this shape, this is more of a teardrop shape. So just to be on the safe side, I think I'm going to want to draw the egg shape overlapping my head. So I'm going to start with the big part here, the big part. It's really wide. It's going to encompass the chest area here. So if you were to look at this part here, this is where I'm pointing to. So it's going to go around and then down, and then I'm going to stop somewhere out here. So let's see, let's go out here. And then maybe my point kind of right there. Now, here's where I can go ahead and modify it. Got my teardrop shape. This pointy part is pointing towards the tail. Pointy part pointing towards the tail. The tail, we're going to add that on afterwards. Now, here's where I can modify the body. Let's say maybe I want to create a birdie that's more like this one. And for you, you may want a birdie that's a little bit smaller than this. Maybe he's a little bit more stubby. Maybe he doesn't quite have as big of a chest as this guy right here. For you, go ahead and think about those characteristics. So if I were to make him more like this guy right here, I actually want to I want to shorten this up and maybe like lift up this part here so that I have plenty more space for my tail. That means I can erase this part. And I'm just showing you guys an example of what you can do depending on what's going on with your birdie. So I've lifted that part up. Maybe it needs to be more elongated and maybe a little more lifted. So I can sort of move this pointy part here, connect it, therefore erase this part, the back part there. So it's modified a little bit more. Let's see, maybe I want to have this part be a little bit more flat because this guy's chest is a little bit more flat. So I can come to this side and I can modify it. Maybe I can make this go down a bit more like that. So it's a little bit more flat. Now, this is for creating this kind of bird. However, I'm about to erase this because I want to show you what it would look like if you created I don't know, maybe like a shorter bird, maybe a more stubby bird. You know, maybe I won't erase it. Maybe I'll just make a whole new picture. So if your bird is going to look radically different from the original guy here, maybe I'll draw the head. Oval shape, oval-ish shape, I would say. And then let's say I want the body to be a little bit fatter. So I'm going to take my finger and sort of outline the general area that I'd like for it to go. So my point's right here. Maybe I can really round it out. He's a little shorter, a little bit more round. He's gonna look adorable. Erase that part. And there we have it. Shorter, rounder birdie. Overall, it's a very similar drawing though, overall. Now, let's modify the head. Now, if you'll remember, our little birdies here is pointing this way. So that means that the thicker part of the head could be over here, although not always. If I were to refer back to the example pictures, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up again. Here they are. Some birdies are very rounded. There you go. Now you can see it. So, like this guy right here, very round head, if you can see that. Let's see, this guy right here. His head really bleeds down into the body. There's really no neck there. If you see, let's see, the dove right here. He's got a really thick forehead, so his forehead is really out there. Let's see. Trying to find. I think for the most part, they all look pretty similar as far as the head shape. If you look at this guy, white-crowned sparrow, the top of his head there is a lot flatter compared to the pine siskin right up here. That's a rounder head. So the sparrow's got a much flatter head than the pine siskin. So that's probably a lot of information. All that to say, you can modify your head any which way you'd like. So I'd like my head to be a little bit flatter, just because this guy's got a slightly flatter head. Now, my second birdie here, I want to keep that round head. I like that round head. We're going to keep it that way. Now, let's go ahead and give it a neck. So this guy right here, he does have a little bit of a neck. So what I'm going to do is make a nice little curve right in here. It's going to dip in a little bit, come right out, that nice little curve. If I were to look at my second birdie here, I mentioned I want him to be a little bit bigger. So he's not really going to have much of a neck. So it's not going to curve in, it's going to curve out. Like that. I might actually make it a little bit more curvy. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more than that. There you have it. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and erase these lines right here. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and erase this one, permanently gone. I'm going to go ahead and erase this one because I can see from looking at the original drawing that this wing overlaps. It's right in front of the head. So therefore, I can erase this one. But if you're doing something different from this little guy, then like this one over here, then you get a choice. You can decide whether you want the head to overlap. If you want the head to overlap, this is what it would look like. You would erase that top part right there. But if not, then you can still just erase the bottom part. And if you're undecided, you don't have to address it right now. You can always erase it later. It's not a huge deal. feel like his head's a little bit pointy. Are there any questions so far? Any more questions? All right. All right, so let's go ahead and work on the tail. So the tail, way over here. Um, I chose to do a tail that is flat on the bottom simply because I wanted to make life a little bit easier for myself. I already knew that I wanted the wings to be the focus, to be the center of attention. So I just chose to do a flatter tail. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that, but I'll go ahead and bring back the example picture just in case you'd like to look at other tail examples. So this one, I'm not going to worry about the fact that the wing is uh, on top of the tail here. I'm just going to continue this line here, continue the back, stretch down, and depending on how much room you have here, I don't have too much room. You may have to go, you know, make it sort of look like it's going off the page. But you can make it as long as you want or as short as you want. And you can tell here that it's shorter over here where it attaches to the body, and it gets longer as it goes out. So after I've decided my length based off of the back portion here, I can come over here and decide how much I want it to fan out. So that's quite an angle right there. It's fanning out quite a bit. And then I can come over here and connect the two lines. Now, because my tail goes off the page, I'm just gonna have to imagine that it connects somewhere over here. So I can follow these lines here with my two fingers, and that's kind of where it connects in my imagination. Now let me go back to this little birdie here. And once again, if you blink during all of that, I'm gonna go ahead and redraw this guy. I'm gonna follow along with this line here. It's gonna extend outward. And then it's gonna fan outward like so. That's a much better picture. Now you can see the whole thing. Now for my birdie here, I feel like I would love to make him look a little bit bigger, actually. I just after looking at this a little bit more closely, I feel like this could be less flattened and more rounded. And if you happen to see that on your picture at any time, you can go in and change it at any time. I'm gonna round it out quite a bit. I want him to be fluffy. There you go. That's quite a bit more rounded. Happy with this guy. I do encourage you to maybe look up a little bit away from your picture. That way you get a different perspective for a few seconds and then look back down at it again. See if you need to modify anything. Do that at any point. So if any point you need to find a new perspective on it, look up and then look back down at it. Like right now, I feel like this first birdie's head is a little bit misshapen. Needs to be fixed a little bit. I will find that I am constantly modifying my pictures. Anything I draw, always modifying it. So don't be afraid to do that. Just because you put the pencil down once or twice or several times, and just because you've erased several times doesn't mean that you are a bad drawer or anything like that. Just needs to be modified. That's all. there we have it. So let's do let's do the wing. Let's do the wing. So I'm gonna go by this wing simply because, again, this is what I wanted to focus on personally when I did this picture. I have three distinct sections, and I'm gonna start off by very loosely creating the whole wing first. Now, this whole wing, it's a another teardrop shape. It's another droplet shape, going in the same direction as your body. So again, starts over here. I'm just gonna follow this line around, and I feel like it probably parts somewhere around here ish. It could, have a little bit more space, in the chest area, just depending on my birdie. So say I did want to modify it. Maybe I do want to modify it to have more chest space here. I can always erase. I can always maybe modify the roundness, go up like that. Notice how I'm always using my fingers. Um, I always do this. Always use your fingers because I feel like your fingers help you to figure out which direction to go. It's kind of like you're pointing out exactly where your finger should follow. I'm always using my finger for this kind of stuff. I'm going to go back to birdie 2. I'm going to make a little wing for her. Round that out. And there you have it. I'll probably modify the shape in a little bit. Now, since I have this wing here, I can go ahead and erase this line. This line was really just a placeholder. I'm gonna go ahead and erase it now that I know where my wing fits in this picture. I can erase it. Here I am dropping things. It's not a real class if I don't drop things. Okay. Now let's make those sections. So I decided to make these 3 sections, and we're going to start by blocking them out, just making some lines that curve across the wing. See that? They curve like that. That's a very general way to block out these different sections. We'll divide them further after this. Make these sort of swooping lines that go across. And like anything else that we're doing, we can always modify them. So say maybe like this one, I want it to be a little bit thinner at the top of here. It's pretty thick right here. If you look at this section, it's pretty thick. Compare that to here. So let's say I wanted to do that. I can go ahead and erase it and just modify the direction. So again, using my finger to guide me and really, I can really see where I'm going if I use my finger. And there you go. Maybe I'll leave it at that. Birdie number 2. Let's say maybe I want to make him a little bit different. Maybe he'll have 3 sections. No, 4. There's that one. There's that one. Maybe a thinner one. I don't know. I'm just making this up. We'll figure out what to do after that. Questions? Don't forget to breathe. sometimes when I'm drawing, like, I forget to breathe too. So don't forget to breathe. Seriously, really take a deep breath. It's necessary. Okay. Let's go ahead and draw some little feet. Now, our feet, this is where even I get confused. I get confused with the feet. Um, See these guys right here, the legs and the feet. Um, I've really had to practice, and I want to point out the fact that they have like these little these parts right here that still have fur, and then it goes down to the naked part, the furless part down here. So what I'm gonna do, it's gonna look very what's the word? Uh like we'll have to draw a skeleton first, is what I'm saying. We'll have to draw a skeleton first and then draw draw the lines that give it shape after that. So if you'll see here, this part, the part with the fur, it has it comes down to a point. So it sort of follows this part just a little bit, and then it goes downward to a point. But either way, it's going to point outward. So because this is the first leg, I'm going to start a little closer up here. See this line here? This line is overlapping the body. And I do that because I don't want to get confused as to whether or not this is the back leg or the front leg. It's the front leg, so it's going to overlap the body on this side. It's going to point outward. It's going to point towards the tail, actually. The other line, this one, this leg right here, it's going to point same direction, but it's not going to overlap because that's the one that's behind. So it's the back leg. And again, this is a very rough general idea, a skeleton, if you will. I'm actually going to put this a little closer so you guys can see it a little better. There we go. Okay. So we have our point right here. So from that point, now we can go ahead and make that little triangle-like shape. This point is the point of the triangle here. So I'm making it taper upward. Well, what's the opposite of taper? Making it get wider. Now, just to make things a little bit less confusing, I'm going to go ahead and erase these lines. All the lines in the middle of this triangle, I'm going to erase them all. And if you want to see that again, luckily I have another birdie, so I'll be able to go over the legs again. See that? This part is this part. We just created a skeleton from that part. Now we have the second one to do. So that's this back leg. This line here, just like this one, it's the middle of this one. So because it's in the back, we're not going to crisscross any lines. We're going to go out here. This point is the point of our triangle. I'm going to connect like that. This point is the point of our triangle. And making these triangle-ish shapes. So now, the only thing I'm erasing, because it's a back leg, the only thing I'm erasing is the middle line, that skeleton. That's what I'm erasing. Now, before I move on into the rest of the legs, I'm going to go ahead and repeat that entire process with my second bird. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover this up now. Got my second bird here. So if you want to see that again, I'm gonna do it all over again. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the lines for our skeleton. I should have done this first actually. This is essentially what I'm doing. I'm creating that leg bone. So it's gonna point downward and towards the tail because I want to draw the first leg, the one in front. It's going to crisscross into the body because that signifies to me that that's the front leg. So it crosses over. And then behind it, I'm going to draw this one. I'm going to draw the back leg. And the back leg is going to go behind that first one that I drew. But I'm not going to crisscross the body because this is the back leg and I don't want to see the rest of the line. It's just an indicator to me so I don't lose anything. So I have those two leg bones there. And now I want to go ahead and create the triangle shape. So that's this line that goes and meets the into the chest area. So this is what I'm drawing. I'm going to have it come downward from the chest. Going to have it go out and meet that point. Then it's going to go up again to the rest of the body. It's going to meet the rest of the body right there. So it kind of tapers down from here and then sharply goes up. And in order to eliminate any confusion with all these lines here, I'm going to erase the original body line right here. And then also erase that bone line, the one that was right in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the back leg. Do that the same way. It's going to be a tiny little leg there. And I'm going to erase that middle portion. That's the bone leg. Erase that. Now, let's go back. And in my opinion, I feel like this part's a little bit more confusing. Once again, we are going to sort of create a skeleton, except for the line that we're going to create is actually going to be this back portion of the leg, this back portion. Now it's going to, I'm actually going to switch drawings here because I feel like you guys would be able to see a little bit better on my second birdie. There's more space here. Okay. So these legs, they're actually going to face the opposite direction. They're going to face the to the right. So I'm going to draw this line. Same thing for that back leg there. I'm going to draw that line. Going to go downward. Now the front leg is going to be a little bit longer just because it is in the front. We want to make sure that we can tell it's in the front. It's a little bit longer. And then this is where it can get a little confusing. We don't yet have a branch or anything for it to sit on yet. So this branch that you see, I actually created this branch based off of my my feet, and not vice versa. I didn't make the branch first and then do the feet after that. I did the feet first and then the branch to fit the feet. So I like to rationalize it by sort of making a line that goes here, like here, kind of perpendicular to it, and then creating the little toes by going downward. Same thing for that back leg. Make a little toe that goes downward. And then I have more toes to squeeze in there. So I can squeeze in that toe back there. And then I don't think I think because of perspective, I don't think I was able to squeeze in a third toe. I don't actually know how many toes they have. And then from here, we can start to thicken this leg, so give it a little bit more shape. So I'm gonna make the other side of the leg. From here, I can start to shape this leg or this toe back here. I do have to erase that a little bit. I'm gonna shape that more into a claw. And then from here, start to build in this claw shape. There's a ton of erasing that's gonna happen. I feel like I'm trying to erase the toe that's back here because I want to draw it again so that you can see it a little bit more, giving it more of an angle. There we go. I'm erasing some of the excess lines now. So erasing that connector line and then reshaping the toes to be a little bit more softer so they can curve a little bit more softly. And then we can do it all again with the second foot, the one that's in the back. So the other foot back here. Once again, I'm going to start with a line that's more perpendicular. And it's kind of behind the other foot. So I have to stretch that line across. And then I can go ahead and make this other toe, that second toe, it's going to stick out at an angle. And then it's going to curve down. Actually, both of them are going to curve downward because those are the toes. And then I'm going to start to build shape to the back leg there, making it thicker. Come down here to the back toe, build that shape, erasing what I need to as I go. Same thing back here. I'm gonna build up this first toe, making my lines a little more curvy as I move along. I don't think you can see that very back toe very well, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. And again, I have plenty of space to build up my my twig or my tree branch off of what I have already. Any questions? I know that was a lot. Totally understand. I'm actually going to go ahead and do this guy right here. You can't really see his legs very well, so I don't think you'll be able to see the toes very much, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm going to go ahead and draw those back legs. Start with that back line. It's going to come down. And yeah, I definitely can't see those legs. So maybe I can see that back leg there. But this is a little bit more difficult. I think I'll just completely omit that front leg. And then maybe I'll just do a little hint of the toe down here. It's such a tiny little spot. It's probably not going to matter so much. There. You can see just a little bit, a hint of a toe back there. Again, such a small spot. I'm not going to worry about it too much. We'll get to do beaks now. So beaks. Decide if you want your beak to be a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, a little bit wider at the base. I always like to start off with a diamond shape whenever I do beaks. Let me go ahead and draw a diamond shape in here just so you can see it. It's like I did this shape and then I did it outward like this. Let me demonstrate on this one. So it's going to come out, and I think I want a wider base for my little beak here. So it's going to have quite an angle. It's going to start off as a triangle, but it's going to morph into a diamond shape because I'm drawing the back of the diamond onto the birdie face. It's going to look a little funny. Definitely haven't shaped anything yet. Now from here, I have that basic diamond shape. If you can see here, this little beak, I've been able to curve it inward, curve it downward so that it resembles more of a beak. So I can erase this line, erase that top line, and curve it. I can also erase this line right here. This is going to be that initial line on the head. I can erase that. I don't need it showing through the beak. And then it's going to look very, very blank in here. We'll want to draw the the mouth. So draw the mouth going from this point to this point. So the front point to the back point. And from there, of course, you can modify it. I had modified the shape of this beak to be rounded at the front right here. So you can have it rounded at the front, you can have it rounded at the back portion. Maybe I'll have it rounded at the front there. So I've erased the top of that diamond. There we go. So now it's rounded. Birdie needs a little nostril, so I'm just going to make a little dash right there in the middle of the beak there. Just a dot or a dash, whatever that looks like for you. I want you guys to congratulate yourself for coming this far. You did it. We're at the beak. Yay. So close. Congratulate yourselves. We'll do the eye next. Oh, let me go ahead and repeat the beak on this guy. So I'll just repeat this. I'm going to make that diamond shape. So I'm going to decide whether or not I want it to be a longer shape or a shorter shape. I'll start here, stretch it out a bit. Maybe my beak on this birdie can be a little bit longer. I'm going to stretch it down again from that point to the head and then out. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of the diamond out here. And then from there, I can decide how to shape this middle portion here where I can erase this line. Well, let me shape it first. I can round it where it's more round right there, and then erase that initial diamond line. Go, nice and rounded. I can erase the original line for the head so that it's blank on the inside. I can draw a line now to signify the mouth. So the mouth is going to go from front point to back point, front point to back point. Now I can modify the top of the beak. Technically, you can also modify the bottom of the beak too. I just didn't bother with that with this particular birdie. But you can modify the bottom as well. I want that to be a little more curved. No idea what kind of birdie this is, but I like them. All right, longer beak there. Let's go ahead and create the eye. So the eye, even if you wanna have an almond shape for the eye like this guy, I'm still gonna start off with a circle. So some birdies have their eyes more in the middle than this guy. Some of them much closer to the beak, like doves, for example, those are closer to the beak. So I would say it really doesn't matter so much where you put the eye. I mean, if you're making it, you know, from your imagination, it doesn't matter so much. No matter what, you're going to start off with a circle. Now, your eye can be bigger than this, it can be more cartoony, or not, it can be smaller. From there, you can keep it round shape, or if you'd like to turn it into an almond shape, then you extend the top, the tops like that, extend them outwards on both sides, just a little bit, and then do the same for the bottom. You're essentially making some points for the bottom and for the top. You need some points. I think for birdie number 2, I'm gonna go ahead and just give them some round eyes. Keep them like that. Now, I would love to show you how to segment our sections here. So as you can see, you have several or a lot of different feathers actually. And I'm not even going to bother counting how many feathers, just however many I make is how many I make. So I feel like I would go crazy if I had a set number of feathers to put in there. Although you can do that too. More power to you if you can do that. I'm going to start off with what I feel like is the easiest thing to do, and that's to create lines. So I'm going to start with how did I do this? I think I actually started with the bottom here. So the bottom here, all of these lines come to a point. So all I'm going to do is make a bunch of lines that radiate outward from that point. So as you can see here, they're all just going to radiate outward. And these segments, these individual feathers, they can be as thick or thin as you want to make them. They're just going to radiate outward from that point. You're welcome to grab a ruler or something that's more of a straighter edge if you'd like to create those straighter edges. I always have a ruler nearby, or you can use a different sheet of paper to help guide you. What else? What else do I use? Sometimes I happen to have like these little note cards here. Those help to guide and make straight lines too. Oh yes, let me make that same pattern on second birdie. So again, starting from the point, radiating outward. Stuck. Right. I usually always ask this question, but we've been so busy. There's a lot of like, information to pack. But has anyone done anything creative this week? I always like to ask that question. And by creative, that doesn't always have to mean art related. I consider my breakfast a creative endeavor sometimes. Um, like I've put like chocolate in my oatmeal. I've put like cayenne pepper in my oatmeal, like anything weird and interesting. Um, yeah. This one time I made avocado toast with what is it, tomatoes and balsamic vinegar mixed into it and just a little bit of salt on top, and it was really good. That was my creative thing for that day. You're welcome to share at any time, okay? If you happen to have some artwork nearby, I'd love to see some artwork too. Oh, Brandy, you're holding up something. I'm gonna add you.
Yeah, we went to the beach,
Yay!
so I tried to make some beachy things.
I love it.
And they look like airplanes, but they're little baby turtles. But
I could tell they were turtles. I could see.
I don't know what happened to that guy, but he's flying a kite or flying a triangle. And let's see what else I did.
Is that acrylic paint?
No, this was all watercolor.
Wow. Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, and then this one was kind of a whatever, but just trying to practice sunsets. Oh, and I realized I can't now see the right color on my computer, so it all looks weird. But yeah, just playing around.
Yeah, I like it though. I love that first one especially. That one for whatever reason, I feel like it looks like watercolor. Oh, I'm sorry, it looks like acrylic paint. It looks like paint to
Oh,
me.
really? This one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the sky for me. I'm not sure, but I love the way the colors blended into the sky really well.
Yeah,
Nice.
thanks.
Yeah, it looks good. Yay, thank you for sharing. I love it. Anyone else want to share? Oops. I'm
You know, I have my
spotlighting
masterpiece from
the wrong people.
I have my masterpiece from last week.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah?
I
Did
missed
you
that.
work on it?
Yeah,
Is this the collage?
yeah, and I really do. I'm not playing around. I don't know what I'm doing because I tried to do it. No thanks. I tried to do it again, and I don't know how it. Well, oh, that's the wrong thing.
There it is.
That came out
There.
amazing.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh,
it really does look like a collage, but you created that all on your tablet. Wow.
But I really, I tried to recreate again, like cutting away pieces, and it
Yeah.
doesn't cooperate. I really do this
Huh.
with you. You're like, okay, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And I'm like, okay, neither do I. And then I'm going to try this. Okay, I'm going to try that. And, I don't know why spaces come, they go away, they're in, they're out. Like it's all, I don't know, but I know
yeah,
I
that looks
feel
really
really
cool.
proud of that one.
Yeah, I think you should be proud of that one. I especially love the colors, and I know I've told you this before, but you're so good at like putting colors together too.
Well,
Um,
there are the palettes, but I still have to, sometimes I create my own. But
yeah,
I just
yeah.
like, just today when I was doing it, there's a tool I don't even ask for, and it's constantly going, hey, you want me to take a square? You want me to do this? And it's like, no, get out of the way. And so the whole time I'm just, I don't know why it's doing it. And now it turns out there's a lasso tool. I can't make it do what I want it to do.
I love it. I love it though. Like I don't know. I don't believe that you didn't know what you were doing with that one.
I know, that's why I was going, no, I really didn't.
Yeah. It's
I
good.
played
It's really
with my
good.
crayons.
Oh, Sharon, yeah, let's see it. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's nice.
Just playing.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, that's a good idea. I like that. Nice. Thank you.
kind of like the stained glass.
That mosaic
yeah.
that you had us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stained glass. Well, I'd love to open the floor again in a little bit. I'll show y'all how to do continue the feathers. Let's
No,
move to
it was good to take a little break because I was really ready
Yeah.
to quit because
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh
my
yeah.
bird was looking like a fish, and then I was like, I don't want to do this, you know. And then took a little break. I'm like, okay, kind of looks like
Yeah.
a bird. All right.
Yeah, it's a drawing lesson. And that's why I
Yeah.
gave y'all the choice. Like, we don't have to do it next week. If you don't want to do it next week, we don't have to. So we can decide that later.
But then
in
we're
case you
just
didn't hear,
coloring it, right? It'll be done.
yeah, like
Okay.
if we decide to do it again next week, we would just be coloring it. So that's it. No drawing. So the fun part's coloring. But okay, so let's move to the tail. So let me bring back this guy back here. For some reason, I feel like he looks like a Joe. He just looks like Joe to me. I'm gonna name him Joe. So if you'll notice these back here, the tail portions, they get a little bit thicker as you get closer to the end. So I'm gonna start in a similar area, you know, probably back here actually. I'll start back here because this part is the least changing, I would say. Like there's more of an angle over here, less of an angle over here. So I'll start over here. And I'll just have them progressively get a little bit thicker at the end as I move down the line. So, and again, this part here has more of an angle. So I'll start on the opposite end where there's really no angle here. So let's start here. Make that line. Every time I make another, it'll just get a little bit thicker every time. Now I say that, but some of these lines are not so tapered, and that's okay. I'm gonna leave it. One line is enough for me. Okay, so that was the back portion. Let's jump into this area over here. I'll go ahead and make this back tail real quick. This tail. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and also divide this area. These lines are going to somewhat start in the same area. Again, I'm going to try to taper them to make not taper, that's the wrong word, widen them. I'm going to try to widen them out here as they get closer to the end. But as you can see here, that didn't always work out, and that's okay. So I'm going to start in this general area. They're going to go out like so. And I'll probably just divide that just a little bit. So it's similar to the tail, except it's more rounded up here. And I think that's kind of what makes it a little bit confusing, just because it's rounded, but it's a similar idea to the tail down here. And then after that, this is what I feel like is the fun part, the really fun part, is where we get to round out the ends of these tails by making these little scallop shapes. So I'm going to start by making a little scallop shape there, and then there, and then there. Keep on going. And maybe I have this little portion of the wing sticking out here, so maybe I'll just make a little thing right there, a little scallop shape right there on the side. Then after that, that's when you can erase that initial line. So this one right here, just kind of erase them all, that line at the end. We're going to go back in and we're going to replace this line with a curved line. That's going to be this line. It's a curved line. So replace that line with a curved line. And honestly, I'm really bad at making these lines matching completely. So I'm just going to go with it. They're not going to match, and I'm not going to worry about it. Just going to keep on going. Erase that one. And then I'll go ahead and repeat the process with this middle section right here. Again, it's kind of vague simply because there's really no distinct starting point. I'm just going to pretend in my head that they're all radiating from this general area over here. So with that being said, I'm going to make these lines going downward, getting a little bit wider, like so.
Oh, no.
My kitty cat meowing for me. She wants to come in. All right, so again, I'm going to create these scallop shapes at the ends. Actually, before I do that, I want to erase a portion of these lines in the lower part, just because it's a lot easier to erase them before I've crisscrossed them with any other lines. So I'm just going to erase some of that. You can always put
And
them
if
back
we-
in.
If we, so we're going to go over this with a pen or a Sharpie, so we can then finish erasing after that.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because the Sharpie will hold everything in place, so you can go right on top of it with your eraser. It's a good point. Okay, so I've created those little scallops, and I'm gonna again erase these middle lines here so that I can go in and replace them with these other scallop shapes a lot, like that. There we go. And actually, I'm gonna leave it alone and let the Sharpie do all the distinguishing of lines for me. Now, that was the last part for our birdies. So I'm going to go over how to do the branches. And actually, in order to do that, we'll bring back this guy, bring back Mr. Joe here. I will complete his feathers later. I want to get through how to do the branches first before I do that. I remember with this one, I erased the branches quite a bit just because for whatever reason they weren't really looking quite right for me. So don't be, don't be discouraged if that's you, if you keep erasing things over and over again. That's okay. Um, the thing to remember about branches is that they get a little bit thinner the further out they are, like this one right here. So it's going to be pretty thick right over here, which is great. That's perfect because we want plenty of space for our little birdie legs to latch onto something. So they probably should technically be more curved, curved around the branch like that. But my head wasn't thinking that far ahead whenever I made this picture. So as a result, my branch is going to be pretty wide at the bottom down here by his feet, and then it's going to taper and it's going to get a little bit thinner as it goes out here. However, I didn't add this branch until later. So I'm only going to start off with the main branch. So I'm going to start over here um, at the same area that my birdie's feet are sitting on the branch. I'll start here and then I'll just start to curve it and make it go that way. Not going to worry about the branch just yet. And you guys don't have to make the branch here. You can make more than one if you want to. You can make branches sticking downward. But the first thing we want to do is put that main branch in first. Main branch first. So, as you can see, this birdie's legs a little bit more easily. I'll go down here, and he's just floating out in space right now. So, again, I like to use my fingers to sort of guide me. So I want my line to maybe start down here and maybe continue up that way. So I'm going to maybe start on this one. I'll start on the front area first because I know that I want this birdie's legs to wrap around it. So I've connected these two legs. I'm going to jump over the legs here and make a line that stretches down. And then I want to make sure I can cross over underneath any other areas, underneath my birdie. And then it's just going to go off. So I've used my finger as a guide so that I don't get lost. So that's that front line. And now I can make the other side. So again, it's going to be wider, closer to you, wider, closer to you. And then it's going to get a little bit thinner as it goes out into the open. So wider here. And it's okay if you don't quite reach the mark here. For now, I just want to get that line in there, and then I can take a step back and look at it from afar. So let's just put the line in there, and then we can look at it from afar. Not bad, not bad. Now, since I'm looking at it from afar, maybe I can make it a little bit thicker right over here, because I feel like I can definitely give it a little bit more of a perspective. Keep in mind also that branches, they're never completely uniform. Like the the ideas about how a branch should look that I just laid out for you, that's just a general rule of thumb. Not every tree branch is going to follow the same rules. So that always makes me feel a little bit better when I know that nature is going to do its own funky, wacky thing, no matter what I think of it. I don't know, it makes me feel better. So I have another branch to draw on birdie number 1. Right over here. And again, can't really see very much, so this one's pretty easy. Just going to have the lines stretch outward in the way. There's not really much to see here. Now, I do want to go ahead and make a branch, like an extra little, not a branch, an extra little twig sticking out, sticking up. You can make more than what you see here. Um, Again, it's going to start a little bit thicker at the bottom and it's going to taper to a point closer to the top. Maybe I can do that. I can have this line move upward. And then again, I'll come to this side and I'll make it thicker. And then have it come to that point there. Now, if you can see right here, it kind of like dips downward a little bit, like it bulges a little bit right there. So just to make that a little bit more realistic of a transition, I'm gonna make that line go downward, curve downward like that. And then I can just erase this one, erase that main branch line. Now let's say I wanted to draw another branch sticking down, maybe from here. Again, I can draw one that kind of points outward. It's going to be thicker wherever it meets the main branch. Go to a point. Maybe I want it to overlap and kind of, maybe you can really see where it attaches to the branch. Just like that. Now we've got another one to draw. So just this one right up here. So again, I'm going to start with the main branch, going to be thicker on this end, get a little bit thinner over here, and then I'll draw the other branches on top of that. It's going to be thicker up here. Going to stretch across. Going to bend a little bit because that's what branches do. They bend. And then I have this little twig that goes this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here or some spot over here. Going to branch off. Going to go this way. And then I'll go right back over here. It's going to be pretty thick. Taper down. And then as you can see right there, you want to maybe erase this. And then have it go right in and attach to the branch like that. And then I just happen to squeeze in another branch right here. Nothing special about it, just right up here, just kind of sticking out like that. Sticking off the page too. And then these lines that you see here, this is all the texture for the wood. I didn't put that in until I started to go over everything with the pen. So I find that these types of lines are best done once. So you do it and then go. Just swipe these lines and go. So I'm not going to do them yet. We'll go ahead and go over them go over all the lines with your marker. And I'll probably open the floor while everybody is going over with their marker or their pen. Go ahead and open the floor to anyone who'd like to share.
I think this was challenging.
It was. Yes.
This is
I
not a case of
agree.
silence is golden.
I have to say that you guys are brave souls for coming to this class. Drawing is a beast, okay? If you haven't figured that out by now, drawing is a beast. So you have to like pat yourself on the back. You have to give yourself credit because drawing is difficult and you guys are here. You guys did it.
Karen, it made me feel really good to know that you also wanted to quit. So
Really? Because I never.
yes. Yeah, well, same here. I mean, here we are, but
would you like to share or no? You don't have to share. This goes for anybody. Y'all don't have
I
to
might
share.
have this one. It's black and white. There's no color involved.
Yeah,
I think I got
yeah.
this.
I love it. Sherry, would you like to share?
Sure.
Oh my goodness. Yes, let's see it. You did so well, Sherry. Oh my gosh. Like there's so much personality in your
Thank
birdie.
you. I
love
liked
your
it.
Very
feathers.
good. Yeah,
liked
you did
it.
so well.
And I'm not done yet, but I'll fix it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see what there is to fix. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love that. Yeah, anybody else? Barbara? Oh, good, Barbara. I see you. Yay, I'm glad you can make it too.
Nice.
Yeah, I
I
got stuck in
know.
traffic. There was a really bad accident. So
Oh,
I'm tuned in late.
okay.
So, and
That looks
let me,
good.
because we have these gorgeous blue birds, like they're stellar jays, and so I decided I wanted to try and do more of that. But now I can't find my picture. There it is.
Oh,
So,
yep.
Yeah, like I'm just oh, I see. He's got a pointy head. He's got some
wow.
feathers sticking out.
It
Nice.
looks like it. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought if we
So
ended up putting
nice.
color to this would be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
So, and I'm
That's
just
so
working on
nice.
some like background branches.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see like some of the branches sticking out back there. I am so proud of both of you guys, like for the shape of the head, for like the wings. The wings have personality. Um, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yay. Beautiful, guys. Yeah, you guys did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what's the census? We doing this next week? We're gonna color it.
We can't abandon them.
Yeah, yeah.
I
We
can.
color it in.
And I think I like mine with no color. I messed it up when I
Okay.
put the color in it. That's where I
Okay.
messed up.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can show
I-
you mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I really was really looking like a fish.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Well,
Oh, I don't know. It might be hard to see.
Well, you can't
Cool.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
oh,
wait.
we can see a little bit
Oh,
right
here it
there.
comes. It's materializing little bit by bit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
swimming up.
It's looking good, Karen. Like
Yep.
I don't see a fish at all.
No,
Okay.
I don't either.
I see a nicely drawn bird. That's really nicely drawn. I love the way you did the feathers. Like you can see the segmentation of the feathers. You can see the beak really clearly. I feel like your bird has a lot of personality. And honestly, now that you're holding it up just a little bit, I see the legs so much better and they look really good. Yeah.
It didn't feel like it when I did it, but when I showed you my other thing, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it looks like a bird.
Yeah. Well, you did so well with it, honestly. Like, I'm really proud of y'all. I am proud of you guys. Like I said, it's drawing is a whole nother beast. It can be frustrating. I tried to break it down as best as I could. This little birdie.
You did awesome, Hannah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all have really good birds. I'm proud of you guys. Um, I just wanted to throw it out there while you guys are still working, that I also teach another free class at an organization called ANCAN. It's virtual, and we have another class, an art class, this Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central, and so on. So if you'd like the link to that, I have the registration form. Actually, I have to find the registration form. But again, it is free.
I am signed up already.
Yeah. I saw your email, Sherry. I love it.
And it won't be so hard.
Yeah, no. There's more color involved.
Oh, that's a nice bird too.
Yeah,
And
Sharon, I'm gonna put you up there, Sharon. There we go. Your
Oh,
birdie is so,
You
and I
Hey,
need
the
love
feet
that
turned out great.
yeah, I love that she's
Great.
facing the other way too. I love the legs and the what is it? The wings look so good. Yeah, you did it. I love it.
so I want to know how to put some flowers on the
Ah,
branch
yeah, yeah.
because it's spring.
Absolutely. So, why don't I do this? We have a question. What did you say is free? So this is another art class. So it's for another organization that every once in a while I help to moderate the MS support group that this organization holds. It's called ANCAN. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the excuse me, find the website so that you can sign up for it. And again, it's completely free for this particular class. You just need um, some crayons and you need some watercolors, and of course brushes to go with the watercolors. So why don't I find it real quick, and then I will show you how to do some quick little flowers.
I was actually thinking when I was looking at one of the pictures you put, the woodpecker, which has a lot of black, but then like white on the wet feathers. And I thought, wonder if we could put the crayon and then do the black and just let the white paper show up behind it.
Actually, that's a really good way to handle that. Yeah.
Because it seems intimidating otherwise to make white spots.
Can
I
you
think
can you show your branches again? I need to make my branches look more like real branches.
yeah.
The little just little marks or
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me put in the chat the link to the free art class this Thursday that
okay,
I'll be
sorry.
teaching. Oh yeah, you're good, you're good. Okay, so if anybody wants to register for that, again, it is free. Invite your friends too. You're more than welcome to bring some friends, all right? We just like for people to come and have fun with us. That's it. All right, so how about I do this? Going back to the picture, I'll do a branch and then like another branch, and then I'll add some flowers on top of that branch. So let's say maybe I'd like to add another branch, maybe right over here. I feel like there's plenty of space for me to add another branch here. And Sherry, is that what you meant when you said you wanted to see another branch? Did
I
you mean
wanted
like,
how do you make
Mhm.
them look realistic, like with the little etchings or whatever?
Oh yes, with the etchings, yes.
Yeah.
So if you have it all drawn out already and ready to go, then let me just because I need to do things in order for my own brain's sake. Gonna do that. But these little etchings that you see, my brain likes to just think of them in threes, but
Okay.
fives, twos, put them in sort of patches. I tend to just, I don't know, I think it's just natural for our brains to want to do things in patterns. So I'll tend to do them all sort of spaced the same way, but see if you can vary it a little bit. So maybe one line a little closer to another, maybe right here. And I always like to jump around, but you don't have to jump around the way I do. Maybe like a few here and there, but for the most part, it's in patches. And then I can kind of put some down here. They're smaller in this branch because, of course, the branch is smaller. Tiny little spot right here, so I can just put them there. They're mostly in the middle, but I think in order to make it a little more realistic, we can have some sticking up from either side. So they're just quick little things. Maybe every once in a while, put in a few longer ones, a few shorter ones. I have to finish this here. And there we go. I really love these kinds of marks because they're just very repetitive and I think relaxing to make, in my opinion.
And they're really effective. It's amazing. A silly little
Yeah,
stick
it's just,
then suddenly looks like wood.
yeah, suddenly it looks realistic. Now, let's say I wanted to add a few flowers on top of these. I'm actually going to draw them in with my pencil first. Now, you can certainly, if you've already gone over some area with the pen, you can certainly put some flowers behind your branches, but I recommend doing them before you put the branches. I'm sorry, before you put the pen. Draw the flowers before the pen. So I'm actually just going to start out in the open. So I'm going to draw a little circle for the center. And then I think of cherry blossoms whenever I think of these things, these flowers on trees. Cherry blossoms in particular have 5 leaves. So I'm going to aim for 5 leaves. I'm going to draw them, draw the petals. I personally, I feel like it's easier to keep track of the petals if you draw first the first one on the top and then the second and third one kind of fanning out off to the side. Cherry blossom petals, I don't think are as squarish as I'm making them. And then the other two we can squeeze in. Actually, there's plenty of space for 6 petals here. Squeeze in that 6th one there. But more power to you if you can make it to where you can do 5 petals. So there's my first one. Jump down. Make my second. Now my third. That's a little funky shaped. Erasers are so amazing for this kind of stuff. There we go. And you can choose whether or not to have the branch in front of your flower or behind it. So let's say I want the branch in front. And just choose which lines to erase from there. And then from there, just keep on drawing as many flowers as you'd like. Overlap them.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else would like to share, if anyone? Man, time flies, guys. It's already
share.
like, yeah, Marianne. Marianne, let me put you on the spotlight. There we
Oh.
go, your birdie. I
Very
love
nice.
his beak,
Oh.
and I really love the feathers too. I love the way you drew the feathers.
Well, thank you. This, when you broke it down, it wasn't quite as daunting as I thought it was going to be. So
Good.
thank you,
I'm
Ham.
glad. I'm glad you think so. Cool. Thank you for sharing. Y'all did it. You guys did it. You made it through the class. It was the drawing class, and you all did fantastically.
So,
Brandy, would you like to share, Brandy?
sure, yeah.
There you are.
So sadly, I had already done all the inking, so I started another one because I want to try the flowers, but
Yeah.
now I can't put any of the flowers, since this is all
Yeah.
inked in, I can't really make the flowers behind it, but I'll try again. But yeah, this was,
You
yeah,
you
what were you
could
saying?
maybe well, I was just gonna say that with pencil, you could maybe add say maybe I wanted to add, for example, maybe on here. You could try to add another branch coming off of it just with pencil, and then draw the flowers on top of that branch, on top of the new branch
Okay,
before you ink it in. I mean, because
yeah,
yes,
that'll be
it is
fun.
okay. It is permanent, like that, of course, but you could always
Yeah.
add more branches. So
Okay, thank you so much. This was manageable.
Barely,
good word for it.
barely. This
Y'all
was
did it.
painful.
I liked it. Thank you. See you
I did too.
Thursday.
Bye,
Thank-
Sherry.
Yeah, see you on
Bye.
Thursday.
Good
Bye.
night, guys. Good
Bye.
night, y'all.
And then
Have a-
did you warn everyone you're not going to be around in May?
Not yet. I haven't warned anyone yet. I'm going to take a break, just a month-long break, and then we'll be back after next week's class. I'll be back in June for classes in June. There's a lot going on in May, so I just figured I'll just take the whole month off. So
Well, you deserve it. Is there a link for next week?
there is
a re-
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, because I didn't know whether or not to do this one.
Okay.
Continue on with it. I think maybe I'd like I feel like a lot of people would like to keep it not colored. And I know Sherry was super proud of it too. So
Yeah.
I think maybe we'll do a whole nother project next time.
I kind of like
So.
them in black and white too.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to know. Good to know. We'll do that.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All
You have a
right,
good
y'all.
week.
Bye, you too.
Bye.
Oh, Stephanie says she doesn't know how to upload her picture. Yeah, maybe if you can get your camera to work next time, that would be amazing. We'd love to see it, of course. If you'd like to show me, you're more than welcome to email me if you like. I'll just type my email into the chat. hannah@ancan.org. There it is. Just in case you want to email. You don't have to, though. But yeah, I'll try again next time.
Oh, good. So we're not going to do the bird.
No,
I
no,
want to
we'll
like
do
this bird. I don't want to hate it. I should feel okay about it now.
Yeah.
I changed
Maybe-
my background a little bit.
You. Oh, hey, fancy background. That's a lot. I like that.
Yeah. I was using this as my inspiration. This was a picture I took last year.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's really good. I like it. I can't wait to see more of that texture around it. Like, are you gonna add more branches?
I don't know. I might throw some paint on it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think I feel like that's a better way to get some of those details. So
Yeah, yeah, with the paint, I have to agree with that too. I feel like paint is just more fun in general anyway. You know, lines they're lines, they're rigid, but paint you can
yeah, and
obviously be
I
more
feel like
fluid.
I haven't done anything in acrylic in a while, so I think maybe I'll throw some
Mm.
acrylic on it and see how that works.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. All right, y'all. Dinner awaits. So I'm
Thank
going
you.
to close the room. Have a good week.
You too.